All right, next, I want to talk about what are the traps for abstract writing. First, use translation devices to do the writing. You do not know how many students the Chinese students have met who use translation devices to translate their study, particularly for their master or doctoral dissertation. I feel really sorry for them because their English is not good enough. They could not identify the problems. For me, the English is really problematic. And they think this is already perfect. So that's a trap. If you submit your dissertation, whether it's master level or doctor level, to our Chinese supervisors, and the English translation was only the abstract part, that's okay because people may not check so much for English writing. But if you submit this as a journal article manuscript, you upset the editor immediately. Second, use tense in an inconsistent way. So you change the present to the past, you have to keep it consistent. Third, use active, passive voice interchangeably. That's a big deal because when you do writing in Chinese and give a translation device to do the translation for you, each sentence may look fine, but when they put together, the active voice and passive voice keeps appear interchangeably. That's really bad because it does not have the cohesiveness. Okay? And fourthly, include unimportant information. Come on, you talk too much about other things. Now what's the most important for your own study? You better make sure everything you write is directly related to your study, not about something else. Particularly for your study, you want to say, this is important for young people, for particular population, and we have to do more studies on that. No, wait a minute. That's something you would present, argue in your introduction, your discussion, not in your abstract. And then finally, forget to do proofreading. The worst kind of mistake is in the first page, in title page and abstract, you already have mistakes. You can see how upset the editor could be. Remember this. I'll give you an example. This is a writing. It's a Chinese and English. I put it here. Now, wait a minute. You can look at the English abstract and see how many problems or errors you can detect, you can identify. Okay? I'll give you some time. Now time is up. Did you find anything? You better find something so that we can compare. Or you could not find anything. Because this is the perfect example of a translation devised English TBE. Now, here are my answers to what problems there are in this passage. Now let's look at it together. This paper adopts the method of literary review. The review is missing. Questionnaire, experiment, and statistics. We don't need mathematics. To make an investigation, effect of physical exercises. Exercise not just one, different kinds. On internet addiction of middle school students. Results. 1. BMI. What does BMI means? Pull up. The 50-meter standing long jump scores of internet addicted students increased significantly after because you did something, you have to emphasize the physical exercise. And 2, the physical exercises, not just one, improve the status of situation of internet addiction in middle schools, but also improved Okay, this is past tense. Students' learning attitude. Continue. The scores of diagnostic factor of psychological symptoms of students with internet addiction were significantly lower than those without intervention. Not before or after. And the physical exercise intervention had a positive, not a good and bad, it should be positive negative effect on the psychological symptoms of students with internet addiction. Conclusion, the physical exercises are a safe and effective way to improve internet addiction. Control, you have to add a control there because you do not want to improve internet addiction. That's making things worse. You want to improve the control among middle school students. Okay, previously you may think this is a perfect piece of translation. Now you know the problem it is. If you submit this to an English journal for consideration of publication, you will only succeed in upsetting the editor from the very beginning. So conclusion is, don't upset editor with abstract of your paper. Now here is another example. Can you find anything problematic? I'll give you some time. Okay, now time is up. Let's see where the problems are. The problem was about basic grammar mistakes, nor is wrongly used. And two, too many questions in the abstract. And three, unnecessary information is provided. And four, FOMO abbreviation is used too early without definition. And fifth, tense is consistent. Sixth, gender was inappropriately used. Okay, now let's look at this together. Cyberbullying has become a hot issue in today's society. Many studies have focused on the risk factors of cyberbullying, but no research has investigated the influence of father phobbing on the adolescent cyberbullying. Nor, what is nor? You should either or, so that's the problem. The mitigating factor, moderating factor mechanism in this situation. It is not clear whether phobbing would be positively related to adolescent cyberbullying, whether adolescent fear of missing out would be a mediator between the relationship of phobbing and adolescent cyberbullying, whether gender would be a moderator in the pathways of phobbing and adolescent cyberbullying. You see too many questions listed together. It could be shortened, and thus grammatically it is inappropriate. In the study, 109,098 Chinese adolescents, you don't have to provide such information now, were surveyed about their demographics. What does it mean? Okay? It should not be used here. Phobbing, cyberbullying, fear of missing out, and gender. Surveyed about that gender, the gender difference. Through the questionnaire, results indicate that the phobbing was positively related with adolescent cyberbullying. And the mediating analysis showed that we do not need that. The second, FOMO, was a mediating factor between phobbing and adolescent cyberbullying. And thirdly, mediation analysis showed that the gender mediated the relation between phobbing and FOMO. Here is my revision. You can have a look. I don't have to read it out, but you can see how the paper, the abstract, could be improved by revising this part. Having said all of this, my recommendation is please check exemplary abstract before you write your own.